The Dwarven King's heart is soft, but his axe is sharp. And his adopted daughter, Catti-brie, a deadly archer, destined to be a leader. They will resist. The newly crowned king of the Reghed barbarians, Wulfgar, son of Beornegar. If he can master his rage, he will be dangerous. Drizzt Do'Urden, the Drow outcast. Few can match his deadly speed. He could be the key to everything. They care for each other. Something to be exploited, perhaps. But their bond is strong. Regardless, they failed to secure the shard from that fool, Kessel. It's out there, exposed, for the taking. And now, it will be mine. Mine.
That's about where I usually have it. Center it on the speakers. Okay. Excuse the green screen mess. Hey, is it? What? Okay, there we go. First, look at our vibration settings here, or our settings. So that's interesting. Character performance is separate. Okay. Maximum SPS. That's actually low. Overall quality settings is medium. Really? I'm just gonna go very high. And like 60 because we're not going higher than 60. It's Windows full screen, which is it's fine. Actually, good for switching between this and chat if I need to. It has accessibility functions. That's actually kind of cool. Subtitles are on by default, so that's good. We'll see if it'll need a background. Okay, shouldn't. So I'm a little nervous about this because it currently has 2 out of 3 stars, at least on the Xbox app. I don't know about everywhere else. I'm not going to bother with reviews too much, at least until I've had a chance to play it and form my own opinions. So I can't really do anything about this. I mean, trying to slide see if it's like this any further. No, there's a little like inch. I have like slate blinds, I guess. Some of which have come down. So these are my blinds. They're covered in dust. Or that one's covered in dust. Anyway, so let's start out hit with just to give people potentially. I rarely get anyone in actual chat, so I don't know. But anyway, my opinion of the story that this is kind of part of, the Legend of Drizzt series. I'm nearing the end of the second part of Legacy of Betrayal. So that's where I'm at. So, which is far beyond where this is actually taking place, so no fear of spoilers. Although, it's a little concerning that it's happening so early in that saga. Like, it's basically after the very first published book, which is like the fourth in the overall series. So this is kind of like interquel between the fourth and fifth stories in the timeline. And I don't really know what to. I'm not sure that's like a really wise choice. Ellie, dang it. You had to come lay on my lap while I'm about to game. You just gotta hog the spotlight. So, like, Ellie, no chewing on me, please. Like, this is before any of the characters get, like, their... Like, I'm pretty sure this is before Catti-brie in particular gets her iconic magical weapon with Tormorel. Although from some of the videos I've seen of this, it looks like she is wielding Tormorel. Like, that's gonna be a little weird, canonically, if they have her using Tormorel, because I'm pretty sure she finds that in Mithril Hall, which they haven't found yet. In fact, you can't even call them the companions of Mithril Hall because they haven't found Mithril Hall yet. You can't have iconic villains like Artemis Entreri cannot be in the story because he hasn't been introduced yet. He's not introduced until the second entry of the Icewind Dale trilogy. So he's out. Granted, if you're going to have the Artemis Entreri from this early on, that's probably for the best. I don't really like his character for pretty much most of the Icewind Dale trilogy, all of the Icewind Dale trilogy in particular. Like, he's kind of get off my screen, figuratively speaking. I don't particularly care for the idea of him being portrayed as this. I mean, it's now kind of cliche. Like, maybe back when it was written, it wasn't quite as cliche, but, you know, it's the Dark Mirror. Like, it's what Drizzt could have become. Like, It's also funny that the first published trilogy is called the Icewind Dale trilogy because only the first book in the trilogy takes place in Icewind Dale. Everyone else is everything else is in basically the Sword Coast um, region. At least as I understand it in terms of the geography. Um, but it is an interesting, I guess, plot that they're like trying to latch on. Something that is kind of abandoned for quite a while. I don't believe it's going to be picked up again until at least the probably it might be maybe a ways like actually one of the few books I actually own physically. Like I own the Dark Elf trilogy. Um, which I got a secondhand bookstore. And I own Servant of Bashard, which I got at a book sale, and that's like much further. I haven't even reached that point yet. I'm listening to it on Audible. And working my way through the series. Um, but yeah, anyway, I'm not sure what else I can say. But I mean, even with this particular plot, like everyone is going after Crane Shinamon, I think is what it's called. They could still have uh, said it a little bit later. Like maybe between. It could have been between. Actually, probably could have. Huh. I can't remember like what each of the books covers exactly. Like it probably could have been set up between the third and fourth book, maybe, or like um or like after Icewind Dale. Actually, it could have easily been set like just after they take back Mithril Hall, because uh, the halfling Rumblebelly. I forget his actual name. He's like not part of the playable party here, so that would really excuse his absence. Like at least hypothetically, he's kind of often busy doing his own thing. Um, I think Calumport, I think maybe. Um, it could also kind of allow a little bit of focus on the growing relationship between Wolfgar and Catti Um, granted, I never really thought that. Like I never really bought them as a couple. Like, if you're not gonna behave, get off my lap. You need to chill out. If you want to play, go play. Oh, I can't help you with that, but you've been so good about playing on your own other times. Why do you have to make yourself so high maintenance? Hmm? And now you're you're really messing with. You don't look that green. I know. We can't play right now. I'm about to play a game on my own. Dude, this isn't a Play with Ellie stream. This is a Play This Game stream. The only reason why this game is like set so early probably is because they want to kind of excuse them starting out low level and like growing. But I mean that can just be story, gameplay, sector segregation, you know. I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. So you just have, of course, the default is Drizzt. Also, his alignment here officially is chaotic good. I don't buy that for a second. Like that is his traditional alignment, at least like in earlier editions of D&D. But that's not who he is as written. That's, I mean, Grant, I have a kind of unusual definition of alignment, particularly with regard to Law and Chaos. And I kind of like narrowed down what the alignments mean. So let's just get into this. I've talked about it before. One idea I had until I introduced it to a Dungeons and Dragons group on Facebook was that I would separate altruism and selfishness as altruism and selfishness. Yeah, I'm probably talking a little too fast here. I'm sorry. Into their own sort of category of alignment, a third axis, if you will. And I think what I've come down to is that that's complicating it a little too much. And I feel like, okay, let's just go roughly with the idea of what I've narrowed good and evil, law and chaos to mean. And then the generally is to really narrow down what these things mean on their own as individual components of alignment, and then make any further fleshing out whether or not your character is particularly selfish or altruistic, or if their sense of law comes from a personal code, or the law of the land, or the code of their monastic order, or of their god, or whatever. Like, where does their lawfulness come from? That's up to you as a player. And like how lawful you are, how strictly you adhere to your lawful nature, is up to you as a player. So they're also kind of gradient. So anyway, good and evil. Good is you believe that the lives and well-being of other people have an inherent value that is kind of in many ways irreducible, and if it comes to an action that could bring someone to harm, you're going to resist that idea, even if potentially there is, it may benefit the greater good. You're going to be like, well, this is wrong, like, generally speaking, although you can kind of customize to what degree this is true for your character, but when it comes to the needs of the many, weighing the needs of the few still should have a say in it, you know? Like Spock, the characters who coined the phrase, basically, his act was one of self-sacrifice for the needs of the many. And that's morally justifiable because you are willingly going into a dangerous situation, knowing you may very well die, to save the ship, to save the crew, to But if you're like, hey, you go and put your life on the line to save the ship, like you give them an order, like some random crew member, in order to do this, and they're like, really? Like if they're just like I mean, granted it's a ship and it's a federation. Probably almost anyone might be willing to sacrifice their own life for the sake of the crew, and they could because they're like insubordinate if they refuse their order to go into a dangerous situation. But like, let's just say hypothetically, Kirk Adders orders a random crew member, like a red shirt or something, to although in that period everyone's wearing a red shirt, so. But anyway, like order someone, just a random crew member, to go into this dangerous situation to fix the warp core or whatever's gonna explode, and they're like, get someone else, or they're just like, this isn't what I signed up for, or I don't know, like something like that. Like let's just say they say that, regardless of whether it's realistic for them to be that way, because it is a random crew member. It wouldn't be morally justified to send someone into a dangerous situation who isn't prepared to go into that dangerous situation, isn't prepared to lay down their life for the sake of a greater cause. So I would argue a person who is willing to order someone and force someone to do something incredibly dangerous for the purposes of the greater good is probably leading at least a bit more neutral than strictly good. So, like, I have no doubt that Drizzt is good. But I argue that his my own headcanon is that Drizzt is actually a mutation on the Drow genes. My idea is that Drow society is one in which genetically everyone is predisposed to a form of sociopathy. And or psychopathy. Variations of that where they don't really feel empathy. Like they're effectively incapable of empathy. Their brain chemistry is such that they just don't have that in their vocabulary. They don't have that in their culture. They don't, and it's literally in their genes that it's kind of flipped from what we, in the real world and on the Cerberus world of D&D, most people are good. Most people are have some form of empathy, and there are just these rare individuals who are sociopaths, psychopaths, and they don't have that. In the Drow gene pool, it's reversed, where empathy is aberrant. It's it is not normal. It is. So, empathy is the mutation. It is the given the fact that his father also has, it may also be that, I don't know how true this is, but I think I read somewhere that like sociopathy is more common in males than females, so like that's also kind of reversed, or that it is actually more common in females than males, or or it's overly common in females. So I guess like the similarity is that males are more likely to have the mutation. It makes them empathetic. That would do the exact my idea behind it. Evil is basically kind of the opposite. It's you don't really have empathy. You don't really, or at the very least, you favor like what you wish to accomplish over. So like my idea would be, with the third axis thrown in, is that you can have an altruistic evil character. A character who has altruistic intent is just, seeking to cure cancer, but also like will do awful experiments to um to on unwilling subjects to seek out that cure, that sort of thing. Neutral is kind of, you're more or less in the middle, like you might be leaning toward one or the other. That's kind of what neutral means, is even a standalone thing. So it's between, it's the middle of a spectrum. You may lean one direction or the other, but it's not necessarily far enough that you are one or the other. So anyway, here's the crux of my argument about Drizzt. Law is having a code of conduct, that you follow with more often than not, at the bare minimum. In the extreme, you follow it without question, which kind of makes for a boring character, and also for a very grating character, especially if you're playing actual tabletop game. You pretty much have to trick a lawful character into doing something that goes against their code. Or hope that they will eventually, or if you're going to have a character like that, your intention should be that they eventually kind of evolve beyond it and get just a little closer to chaotic, not like full chaotic, not even necessarily neutral, just less strictly lawful. So you have a code, you have that you follow fairly, because there's things that you absolutely will not do. There are things that you will always do, and yeah. So like when you swear an oath, you will stand by that oath, no matter what. And that could even be like an actual something of a flaw in some cases, but and for Drizzt, like in I think it's the end of the first book, or toward the end of the first book in the Drow trilogy, or Dark Elf trilogy. He swears an oath that he will no longer kill that he will never again kill a fellow Drow, because he feels like every Drow has some potential to become good. Which is, if my own theory is about the Drow, is true. Not so much. That's a little too idealistic. That's a little too naive, perhaps even. But he is kind of young, especially by Drow standards. Eventually, when the Drow, in the Legacy of the Drow trilogy, he ends up basically being kind of forced to kill fellow Drow, and he later sort of ruminates on it and reevaluates that oath, and it was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. You know, Drow are largely evil. In fact, many are vast majority are inherently evil, and when it comes to defending yourself and defending your friends, and having that kind of oath is not going to work. I think Chris Perkins, at least when he wrote up a character sheet or whatever for Drizzt, for his Acquisitions Incorporated cameo or whatever, or at least an NPC thing. I don't know what the heck it was. But he actually defined him as being lawful good. And I can actually see that. Because he has principles, at the very least. He does take oaths, even if he kind of questions them. So, if you're going to paint him as lawful good, then I would say he's probably, leaning toward neutral, at the very least. He's not full lawful, but he's mostly lawful. And if you really want to compromise between the chaotic interpretation of his character and the lawful interpretation of his character, then he's neutral. He's neutral good. Obviously, chaotic is you don't have rules. You might have a few guidelines, but you mostly are kind of like a chaotic good character. He's probably more inclined to having guidelines. And if you're going to stick by the idea of Drizzt being chaotic, then he has principles which are more to do with his goodness than whether he's lawful or chaotic. But thus far in the books, we haven't gotten all the way through them yet, but he's never violating the law. He's never really behaving in a wildly unpredictable way. The only reason why he is a little outside of the law is because he's a drow, and people that kind of makes him a bit of a social pariah, particularly early on. People just don't accept him, and as a result, the law is kind of against him. But I don't think that makes him chaotic. Granted, there could be the whole argument that it could be about following plans versus improvising. That could be a component of lawful versus chaotic. A little bit. I'm still going to lean toward neutral minimum neutral. I don't really see him as being terribly chaotic. He's a ranger, but he can do backstabs, which is a rogue ability. I mean, granted, the closest character that we have to a rogue is, I still forget, Regis? Yeah, Regis. Regis would, although Regis isn't that kind of rogue. Artemis is that kind of rogue. I think I like Artemis a lot better in later stories where he's a little more fleshed out and Anyway, I personally see him as neutral good. So let's get Catty Bree. Also chaotic good. Oh, Rick. She's not like. I do not see her as being chaotic good. Yeah, we don't see them like operating in civilization that much. But again, his role is duelist / assassin, so I guess that has to do with his. And she has arcane arrows, which would seem to indicate Tormoril, but she doesn't have Tormoril yet, or she shouldn't. Yeah, rotate her camera, her character anyway. Okay. Yeah, I don't see her as chaotic good. Are they all? Only Bruner is neutral good. What makes him neutral good? And everyone else chaotic good. I mean, I can definitely see Wolfgar as being chaotic good. Like, I will actually give that. Wolfgar is probably. Also, why is his hair white? Is that just a lighting thing? I don't remember like what. He looks he looks kind of old. At least, like, older than he probably should be at this point in the story. Oh, it doesn't seem like there's a actual rage mechanic. All these stats are very low. The attributes are very low for like at least 5th edition standards. Also, there's some. I don't know what scimitars are supposed to look like, but I imagine being. I think even from the illustrations, they're curved blades. Maybe it's just the angle of the camera right here, but it does look like scimitars to me. Catty Bree is probably my favorite character. I like to play as girls in general. Yeah, Wolfgar is the only character I could see being characterized as chaotic good. Like, I can buy Wolfgar being chaotic good. Catty Bree maybe a little bit. We're probably like the most lawful of the bunch in some ways. Of course, his role is tank. Also, she has infinite arrows, and basically that would be Tormoril. But like, I think the earliest they could do this if they were to give her Tormoril would be after the first book, because there's things that happen in the second book toward the end of the second book. Oh, that's the other thing I don't care about in the books is that I don't know if I could call this a spoiler. It's kind of a spoiler. Like, I'm going to spoil certain aspects of the books because I really want to talk about the books. Bruner toward the end of the second book, apparently dies. Also, somewhere in the middle endish of the second book, Drizzt apparently dies. There's a lot of characters apparently dying in this series, and then everyone like being like so sad. Like when Drizzt dies, I mean, it was like the. I'll give it some slack because it is the Icewind Dale trilogy, and R.A. Salvatore probably had a little bit of an idea of how popular Drizzt was becoming as a character at that point, since the first book had already been out. But it was the second published book in the series. So, and Drizzt does come back within the context of that story. Bruenor is hinted at not being dead at the end of that book. There's so far 3 of these 4 characters have had a moment where they're presumed dead. At the point where I'm at. It's a little annoying. At least like listening, like particularly Drizzt, because like everyone's like so sad, and they're going into all the details about how much they're going to miss him or how much they're devastated by it. And it's like he's not dead. This is like the second book in the literal Legend of Drizzt saga. But like I can't really blame Salvatore for trying to push that. It just doesn't. It lacks the impact it should have for a first-time reader, because everyone who gets into the books knows that it is the Legend of Drizzt. So it's kind of hard to avoid the fact that he survives. He has what I would define as adamantium plot armor. At least, I will say, at least Wulfgar's apparent death sticks for a while. Bruenor comes back the very next book. Drizzt comes back the same book. Like, I think even if I were going to adapt the second Streams of Silver in particular into like a TV show or something, I would probably have them actually know that Drizzt is alive on the other side of this cave-in. Or at least not be quite as sure that he's dead. Anyway, I've gone on way too long. No one's coming to chat, so... We're just gonna start with Caddyberry. I think we can switch between characters.
Krend Shinavon, the Crystal Shard, forged from the magic of 7 liches, but with a treacherous will of its own. For thousands of years, the shard lay forgotten beneath the snows of Icewind Dale. There it waited, until some fool, a would-be wizard lusting for power beyond his due, answered the shard's call. Akar Kessel claimed the shard, and used its power to summon armies of evil creatures to his banner. From his crystal tower, he set them loose upon the Dale and the people of 10 towns. But we would not stand by and watch this tyrant destroy our homes. We companions rallied the united peoples of 10 towns and held our ground at the walls of Bryn Shander. We chased Kessel to the slopes of Kelvin's Cave. The shard realized that we had won. It abandoned him. It disappeared once again under the snows, along with Kessel himself. With Kessel gone, we thought the war was over. We were wrong. Though the crystal shard was lost, still it called to those who craved power. Its call was strong, and from across the realms they came. But we answered a call of our own. A call to stand together against this Dark Alliance, and defend our home against the threat of Krenshinabon.
Caddy Bree, your good friend Regis told me all about you. Kardik Stoneroller here. Anything you need, just step up to my booth.
Regis came by? Why didn't he stay? We could use his help.
Said he had important business in Kaer Konig. Something about a hero's feast? Whatever. He left me here to make sure you had everything you need. For a fair price, of course.
There's one thing I'm kind of worried about is whether or not Caddy Bree is going to have a distinct, like, I think Irish accent.
Should I get into hats? I think I would really look good in hats.
I should look at what the actual graphics options are. Like I don't have anything like maxed out, but texture quality, shadow quality, visual effects, anti-aliasing, post-processing,
What?
foliage, view distance. That's it.
Oh,
No ray tracing.
there's the fourth one. Nobody panic. It's fine. Feel free to browse.
Right. Depending on whether or not I get into this or think it's actually good and worth continuing to play, I'm probably going to continue using this particular format. At least for this stream. So yeah, she just has a quiver and a bow. I mean, it makes sense in terms of just gameplay to give her infinite arrows. Again, to me, this would make a lot more sense if she had. I already mentioned his name, but she does have she does get a bowberry in the second book that has infinite arrows and magical enchantment too. So. I don't know if we have any money. There's skins. I don't know what the heck that is. Like, magic equipment and skins are, like, something that was said that I couldn't hear. Okay, so that's the coin cost. That's the icon for coins. I haven't really got a chance to play it yet. I'm at the first shopkeeper. So let's see here. I gotta. Oh yeah, we literally have 0 gold.
CB.
So that's kind of weird that like we are introduced to a merchant immediately and we have no gold to. Like, we should start out with at least a little bit of gold so we can, like, buy stuff if the very first character we're introduced to is a merchant.
You people are so lucky I'm here. I mean, what would you do without me?
I got a reward chest. It's empty.
Could you go on an adventure or something? I want to get inside my wagon and get warm.
We literally get to battle practice kind of with Tempest. He just like comes to the material play just to tutorialize us.
Thinking about a vacation soon. You know any good underground beaches?
Yeah, I guess I'll go to the world map then. Okay. We're just gonna warp there?
Anytime you want to come sell me something, I'll be right over there.
Okay, it's a portal that opens.
It's time for fighting!
Many dangers have been set before you, Catti-brie. Show me what that bow can do.
Okay.
Give yourself to the test.
Light and fierce. Okay.
Keep your distance,
Are you not a warrior?
Okay, why is she shooting it?
You have not proven yourself. More practice is required.
There's a Jarvo of you. Quick.
You have not proven yourself yet.
Okay. That's repetitive dialogue, that's already negative.
Focus your efforts. Are you not a warrior? Remember what
Wait a minute, I need to do tap. I'm tapping RD. Okay, we got light attacks and fierce attack. Okay, this is. Okay. I'm just getting all these different. I need to. I need to see the main objective.
There's untapped power within you, Catty Bree. I look forward
A
to
4-hit combo. It felt like a 2-hit combo, but like the tutorial on the bottom of the screen is okay. There we go.
and that bow will snap eyes.
Or the range attack.
Agility and strength, and that bow will serve you well on the battlefield.
Okay.
Someone approaching.
A warrior is constantly tested. Now comes your
I need to just jump 3 times, really?
Kill that archer. I see you there, archer.
Block? Really? Harry? Really? Okay, I hate this already. This is very lazy tutorialization. Also, I had to. There's a mechanic for that. Okay.
You there, archer.
Like, oh, this is crap. They have such a variety of different attacks, and
You smell like a dwarf, girl.
I'm having to wait for them to try and attack me. And I'm not sure. It's impossible to tell exactly when I need to time it. That felt like trial and error. I think I had a similar issue with Cyberpunk's own kind of parrying mechanic.
warrior is constantly tested. Now comes your next test, Catty Bree.
Oh, what?
There's yet untapped power within you. I look forward to seeing you from your enemies. You have learned your lessons well, Catty Bree.
Hey, drink a healing potion. How do I do that? Is that no? It's not explaining how to drink a healing potion. Okay.
You have learned your lessons well, Catty Bree.
She's breaking.
For the battle hammers!
Okay. That. Huh? Hey, there you go. I guess that worked.
You fight well for one so young. What might you achieve, I wonder?
Yeah, that's standard fare. Also, the performance of the Cardinal said of making tutorials into their own little thing. And I'm not sure it's a Cardinal thing, but like it's lazy game design. Granted, I think for this, given that it's designed to be multiplayer, I don't know if I can give it that much flack.
There, huh? Can't believe that has anything to do with Regis.
It's also optional, so
The united peoples of Icewind Dale had defeated Kessel's armies and destroyed his crystal tower. But the dwarven warriors of Clan Battlehammer returned home to find their halls overrun. Their people fleeing the valley. We rushed to their aid, fighting our way through the goblins in Verbeeg to find the goblin commander and put an end to this siege.
there's difficulty settings. Per permission, apparently. And the rewards are increased. Let's see, this movement very easy. Oh, there's six levels, so I don't know what would be the normal difficulty. Let's be like very easy, normal-ish. Oh, I'd probably call Guardian normal. Then, like hard, very hard, and sort of extra hard, I guess, or like Nightmare, effectively. Yeah, I'd probably say Guardian would probably be what I consider to be normal difficulty. Because sometimes the other games have like cool additional difficulty. Well, the Legendary Nightmare. Although, like, this already has like a legend, so.
I got a wagon of goods over here. Grapes, even.
I gotta. I can just equip it instantly.
Think Regis
That's
knew
actually
that?
pretty good.
He
Nice
had
quality of life
the best
feature.
stories.
Good to hear more of Kaibi's voice before passing any judgment on it. Also, Bruner's voice, for that matter. dragon already?
I think death! I think death is dead! He's coming back!
Dragon looks hungry, boys!
That must be Icing Death's mate! Icewind! Northern Gale! The Queen of Storms! Icewind!
Centuries asleep and I wake to this. Vermin in my dale. I'll freeze you all screaming.
The Battlehammer dwarves were driven out of Mithril Hall and turned into a clan of refugees before they settled here. As long as I can draw an arrow, I won't let them be pushed out of another home.
Nope. I already know. That is not Caddy Bree. That is not Caddy Bree. I mean, granted, I've been listening to the audiobook. But, like, even from, like, the way she speaks, the way she's written to speak, it is very apparent that, like, she has, like, I guess a Scottish accent, I think, would it be considered? Like the way, I think, like, the best actress for Caddy Bree, depending on what age she'd be, would be Karen Gillian. Like, if you hear Karen Gillian's natural accent, that would be Caddy Bree. Like Amy Pond from Doctor Who. I'm not sure how she sounds like in Jumanji. Like, I swear, if Bruder doesn't have an accent, that's gonna be even worse. I mean, Caddy Bree not having an accent is already pretty bad. Like, even if you read her dialogue straight from the book, it's clear that she has a very particular way of talking, and here it's just, like, even the wording is, like, why? Like, are they trying to get woke or something? Like, saying, oh, we can't do stereotypical accents, even if the accents are European accents. I wouldn't think that it is. I think it's just, like, the writers and or the voice directors had no idea who they were trying to voice act. Like, this is... Like, I'm already hating the game. It doesn't even matter how well it plays. Caddy Bree not having a dwarven accent. Let's just refer to her as it is in setting. She does not have a dwarven accent. It is like 1 out of 10. How do I switch to Drizzt? What the heck is this? There we go. I take out my anger on her not having it. They say this isn't to me liking. This game is published by freaking Wizards of the Coast. How could they screw up the voice acting this bad? Like, I'm sure she's fine. But hashtag not my Catty Bree. They need to pull a Destiny and recast her. Well, they're already, like, tutorializing it in-game. Like, why even have a separate tutorial, optional tutorial, when you're just gonna give us a slideshow tutorial? Which is even lamer, but, you know... I thought we had them all here and you could, like, switch between them. It's like, where is everybody else? Oh my god. I died from environmental hazards. You're having environmental hazards. Right out the gate. That's bad game design.
Battlehammer dwarves were driven out of Mithril Hall and turned into a clan of
Shut up, not Catty Bree.
As long as I can draw an arrow, I won't let them be pushed out of another home.
It should be as long as I be drawing my arrow. Like, that's the way she talks. I think, like, the only thing I can kind of guess is that maybe they thought, like, it's kind of broken English.
Slaughtered any dwarfs yet? Nah, and I heard they all got out. Got out? They're gone? Why are we sieging? Well, not sure, but it's going well. I think we're winning. We are? Well, shit! That's a first.
I don't know who voices Catty Bree. I need to actually look this up. I mean, I kind of want to look up the full voice cast, but oh, they're promoting it. Well, voice actors promoting it? What the hell? Can we just, like, see the list? That was a Neverwinter. I'm just gonna the Dark Alliance. That's from behind the voice actors, I guess. I don't know. Credits. Joe Manganiello's in this. Cool. That's it? That's all they know? The game's out. That's it? No one's like looked at the credits for this game and it's Utar is Joe Manganiello apparently, but like that's awesome, but like who else? Yeah, this game is getting like slightly above average, which from what I played thus far, although IGN gave it actually IGN gave it 4 out of 10 and PC Gamer gave it 82 out of 100. So, but yeah, like this game is barely above average, basically, by most accounts, by like Metacritic. The PC version's getting slightly lower reviews too. I'm not sure if it's actually like legitimately a bad port or what. I mean, granted, if it just controls, then like I'm using a controller, so it isn't gonna be. Uh, yeah, there's a Reddit thread. Trish sounds like Matt Mercer. But yeah, that's kind of a version of Mercer effect. A type of Mercer effect. Or I guess critical role effect, which is where I just feel like, that sounds like Matt Mercer. Oh, that sounds a bit like Laura Bailey. And like, everyone. Wow, on IMDb, they have like the entire credits, but like nothing else. Like according to voice cast. You think they like the way that the star of Joe Manganiello as like the main villain. Like everyone else like in the crew, like the music department, the sound department, the music department, all credited, but the voice actors, screw them. Apparently it's Crispin Freeman for Drizzt. What about Caddy Bree? Like, I'll actually be almost disappointed if it's one with Critical Role. Like, whoever's voicing Caddy Bree, I'm sure she's decent, but, like, I blame voice direction more and casting. And maybe scripting somewhat. Because she doesn't even talk like Caddy Bree.
Before someone else does.
I'm hurting.
Wait, I'm hurting. That actually sounds like, at least, well, on paper that sounds a bit like Caddy Bree. Yeah, that's voice direction, definitely. The voice director did not know that Caddy Bree is supposed to have a Scottish accent. Hey. Yeah, I don't like the gameplay for. It's a little too slow. I was under the impression that we could switch between them on the fly.
I'm on my way out.
I might have to switch to the lower difficulty. Let's start an entirely different. Also, why does the progress bar go backwards? I can select a character here. I guess I gotta start a new character.
Wow, a drow in Icewind Dale. I mean, Regis told me you lived out here protecting everyone, but you know, you guys don't have the best reputation.
I'll protect the Dale with my life. But who are you? You say Regis sent you?
Kartik Stoneroller, merchant extraordinaire. Friend of your friend, Regis. And here at his request, to make sure you have everything you need for a fair price, of course.
Also, it's possible that the matchmaking or whatever aspects of the game are not that great. So that's like kind of the main feature.
The peoples of Icewind Dale had defeated Kissel's armies and destroyed his crystal tower.
I'm just gonna go adventure. You didn't have to buy the game. I just paid $1 for 3 months of Xbox Game Pass. So if it sucks, well, there's a ton of other games I can play instead.
Bruner's aid in the war against Kessel left his people exposed to this invasion. I'll not rest until I see the dwarves back safe in their homes.
Crispin Freeman seems okay. I mean, Drizzt has a very like doesn't have any kind of accent, so at very least there's no established Drow accent, so how do we get across this? Do we jump across it? Okay, we should slash our way through it. I guess. Maybe. Oh, we lost a lot of health there. Let's explore. Another chest that we had to go across to the environmental hazard to. Uncommon necklace. Cool. Oh, come on! And in single player, the respawning in 10 seconds should not be a thing.
Bruner's aid in the war against Kessel left his people exposed to this invasion. I'll not rest until I see the dwarves back safe in their homes.
I'm kind of thinking of like consequences for dying.
Well, not sure, but it's going well. I think we're winning. We are? Well, shit. That's a first. Wow, attacks! Stay there!
I'm not used to using like shoulder button for attacks.
For the people of Ten Towns.
It didn't. Campfires and short rests, okay. Defeated monsters will respawn. Increase loot rarity?
goblins in Verbeeg lay siege to the Battlehammer halls. I'll break this siege and then see what damage has been done within.
You think there's any dwarves left inside? If there are, they're hiding pretty good. Hope they're not planning a surprise attack. Surprise attack? So, why'd you sign on with Kessel in the first place?
I don't know. Just felt right at the time.
Boba shuck, that's the shard. That's how it works. It makes you do stuff.
Nah, I signed up because he seemed like a really cool guy, and I wanted to raid caravans and then deliver all the loot and prisoners to him for his own personal use. Ow.
How do you do the stealth thing? There we go.
Kafoy, I think I like gray dwarves less than the regular ones. Get out, Kafoy! Now let's not do something you'll regret.
The dialogue so far. Uh-oh. Now we have 666 gold. I should have known. They were right. This whole
Another chance
time.
to make the Dale safe.
I guess we have a cooldown for the it's like the leader or something. Okay, that's what? Why is
This one will test me. For the people of 10 towns.
How's she getting on then, you?
Dwarves are gone. All that's left is to break into their halls and loot the place clean.
Ah, shit, big dipper.
What? That's good news.
Well, I was hoping to catch a dwarf myself or to have a scrap and a snack.
This dragon's moving in. I'm moving out. Way out.
I guess why to
Hope this valley don't run out of dwarfs before I had my fill.
You're under attack.
I'm not sure why he has an actual literal invisibility. ability this early in, but
Come, goblins, meet your end.
actually, I was going to say about Caddy Breeze. I think she isn't a solo. She doesn't. I think she would be more fun to play multiplayer than. I only get a checkpoint if I don't increase loot rarity. The checkpoint should exist regardless.
Look at boys, an elf.
This is the optional boss.
I defend these lands. I grow weary.
I don't know how many potions I've got, but I have another potion. There you go.
You'll fight. Got something for ya. Shit in me.
There you go. Yeah, the epic ring. And this thing is just there. Of course, it's a bunch of. Oh, come on! Like, is there a character that can clear environmental hazards? Of course, because I didn't ever take a short rest, I had to start all the way back at the beginning and get the same freaking dialogue again.
I'll not rest until I see the
Checkpoints
world's
should be
home.
checkpoints. This is like an all or nothing approach. That is bad game design. You know, I've already been for you guys. I don't care. the camp concept is dumb. The checkpoint should exist regardless
Meet your end.
of what you're choosing to do with the campsite. I don't think I'm going through there.
When will you turn on the How's too fast? You know they call this the Dwarven Valley, right?
Guess this is their home and all, if you think about it, too.
Not when we're done with the place.
That's the spirit, Gubby. What's your business, you?
Is this where how do you get by this? Can you
I might not live through this.
I should have to consume potions just to friggin' it doesn't do anything to it. But I need to get to the treasure. Is there a character who's like immune to this or who can bypass it? In which case there should be a this is where like the ability to in single player mode switch between them should be, you know, basically Lego Lego style. Am I like officially out of potions now? I might be. There's no way I'm getting over there. Like I said, it's another instance of bad game design. Like it just
Someone approaching!
A champion.
okay, now I'll fight them because I haven't fought these guys before. I'm going to at least get for the first stage. Hey, Ellie.
We're under attack!
I don't think I'm gonna be messing up that anymore.
No, I was in Kessel's tower just before it came down.
Oh, for shuck. No, you weren't.
I was too. I saw that drow charge in and kill a bunch of trolls. And then
I-
he left a sack of power on the shard and the whole tower came down.
Flower? Seriously? You think I'm some kind of gatot?
Well, you must be, because it's
Okay, I need to freaking lock onto him.
My body fails.
I can see the. Why are you being Scorpion? Great, I'm out of potions because of. Screw this game. Like I might not even make it for the first level before just.
Rid of the dwarves and now Duergar.
I'm back to the frickin' beginning. I don't know if I missed a camp or something.
Bruner's aid in the war against Kessel.
Shut up, Dred!
Exposed to this invasion. I'll not rest until I see the dwarves back safe in their homes.
As far as I can tell, there's no way to get the checkpoints back. Once you use the camp, and maybe if I defeat some of the enemies, the camp will return? I don't know. Like, let's try that.
Another chance to make the Dale safe.
So you get the risk versus reward combat concept, but it's not balanced properly. But like checkpoints are something that should exist regardless of whether or not of anything. They should just exist. They should be here. They shouldn't even be something that the player has to think about or actively it should be like, okay, I reached this point level. Here's a checkpoint. Shouldn't be something you should trade off for.
Goblins in Verbeeg lay siege to the Battlehammer halls. I'll break this siege and then see what damage has been done within.
They break down that door yet? Nah. Some dwarven magic's keeping it shut. I knew those booyahs were full of shit. Well, they are shit now. A few got eaten by the Verbeeg. Killed the sucker.
Oh, they're also like really dumb. there's no proper stealth mechanic. There's just
That drow escaped!
also I wonder how the campsites work within multiplayer. Considering that you know, you have to kind of like make that decision as a group, probably.
Slaughtered any dwarfs yet? Nah, but I heard they all got out. They got out? They're gone? Then why are we sieging? Well, the drow has come for us!
Was this guy respawns too?
Come on back. Got something for you.
More work to be done. A beast!
Really? Yeah, not getting any campsites along the way. That's bullshit. Do I get health? At least I get some health potions back, I guess. But I still have 2 left.
The drow! The drow!
This one will test me.
What? Really? I think this is like $40, so it is a budget game, but that's no excuse for bad game design. Like that's an excuse for low production value. Which, I mean, there is a fair amount of production value present. Which means that they just poorly allocated their resources. They put all the resources into making the game look good, instead of having it actually play any good.
Enemies of the Dale!
mean, it plays decent, but again, there's definitely some distinctively bad design decisions. Like that. I mean, I guess the lack of fall damage was alright. Like, there could have been fall damage.
Blades, goblin. Big.
And that there's these things that just... Wow. Those are badly designed traps. Also, I can't open that? It's locked? Or something? It looks like a treasure chest. Like, it's glowing. It looks like it should be something I can interact with. Something is missing. But, oh my god. It just exists. For a treasure chest I can't interact with and a 117 gold. There's no indication that there's anything dangerous there. Until it actually happens. Now, granted, you have some time to avoid it. But is there an environmental hazard that I have no way of circumventing? Besides, I guess, just rushing through in that case.
You know they call this the Dwarven Valley, right?
Guess this is their home.
Not when we're done with the place.
That's the spirit, Gobby.
I smell my supper coming. Two swords make twice the fight. There's my blade down. I'll warm up. I'm gonna hook me in.
I should probably take care of the minions first. Oh, that's lovely glitch there.
Goblin siege engines continue to be a threat. They must be destroyed.
I lose the bonus entirely. Okay, so that's like... literally whoever finds the short rest point first makes the choice. Which makes it even worse. Because you lose a checkpoint. And if whoever finds it... okay, that's interesting.
Mine ain't stabby enough.
At least falling, like, doesn't have fall damage or anything, really. It just... You instantly respawn. Like, there's no kill point. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with...
Who stands against me?
I'm supposed to destroy the ballistas. Or ballista.
Another chance to make the Dale safe. Come.
Oh, that is a little disorienting.
Your end.
Orbeez. Oh, come on, I need two. And where are we going?
Enemies of the Dale! I defend these lands. Come, goblins. Meet your end.
Alright.
Dumbass like cats to find the shard anyhow. They say it found him. Who's they? Those floating wizards. They know all about the shard. Can't know that much or they'd have found it themselves.
I thought the shard found him. I mean, there's maybe a degree of truth to that, but...
Castle may have lost the war, but
You can't swap characters outside the camp. You have to restart the entire mission. Yeah, there's something there. Puzzle. So now progress is actually through a bunch of what the hell?
The Malris are aggressively recruiting us.
Prey on the weak. We are the devout.
Yet, I admit, if I can achieve my ambition by their means, should I not pursue it?
You will never truly achieve anything with the help of a devil. All of their contracts are tainted.
Yes, true, I know better. Still, it is tempting.
The call has gone out, and they have come. Let the voice reach you.
Are these? They might be mind flayers.
Foul champion!
I guess short rests are kind of common-ish. I don't know. I still, again, the principle of it is all these are destroyed rather easily.
Hope they're not planning a surprise attack.
Surprise attack? You can hear a dwarf coming from miles away.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. If you don't smell them first.
This one will test me.
My green screen. My precious green screen. It's too green.
Never had me a taste of dragon before. Never had me a taste of dragon before.
You force my hand.
These are the actual bosses.
Lining up.
Do I have any? No, I don't have any potions left. Well, I had one. Okay, well, I not have ads.
Don't cut me a target.
You will fall without me.
Barely worth the trouble.
Booyah magic. Booyah magic protects this one. Booyah magic protects this one.
What?
Clove of invulnerability. Clove of invulnerability.
What?
Booyah magic. Clove of invulnerability.
What? I think I could communicate better what's going on just a little bit. Okay. I'm pretty sure this tally screen is for multiplayer. Yeah. They didn't really adapt things well to single player.
My years training at the Melee Mac Fair continue to pay dividends.
That's so weird. The loading bar like goes backwards before it goes forwards.
What are you waiting around for? Pick a spot on that map of yours and let me send you there. It's nice that Regis lets you tag along with him on his adventures. Now that's a hero.
I don't know if I feel like doing the whole level up thing. That was a game. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really inclined to keep playing. Like, if I had actually paid full price for this game, maybe I'd play a little bit more just to like get my money's worth. But since I didn't, um, it feels like a waste of my freaking time. I'm not even sure if I would agree with a 6 out of 10 for this game. Like, it's really. I'm gonna go back to the title screen. Because I want discuss the game. Like, so far, I would probably call this a little bit more like either a 5. Like, if I'm gonna be like generous, I'd probably give it a 5. Like, it's average. It's painfully average, and it has a lot of questionable design choices. The whole idea of the camps. There are, I guess, kind of enough camps that you can kind of go every other camp. Maybe, increase item rarity one camp, then checkpoint the next, or checkpoint and short rest the next. I just don't like the idea of checkpoints being a I really don't like the way that the checkpoints are handled as a kind of risk versus reward. Like the short rest and maybe other bonuses versus increasing item rarity could be a relatively reasonable trade-off, but taking a feature that's kind of essential, like checkpoints, is something I cannot get behind. As a design, Ellie, why is it whenever I start talking, you get all? Were you trying to have a nap and I interrupted it by talking? I know I've been talking this whole time, so I don't know. This doesn't like it when I monologue about game design. I guess I don't know. I think the two biggest flaws I've found thus far are that you have to choose between having a checkpoint and getting better loot. And that this choice is basically put in the hand in multiplayer. This choice is put in the hands of everyone whoever gets to that thing themselves. So if you have one player who's more interested in loot and one player who's more interested in actually having proper checkpoints, well, that's going to be a problem. Then there's also the environmental hazards. Like, having them introduced this early into the game is a fair problem. If certain characters can circumvent them better than others, it might be okay, but the fact that they exist even when you're doing single player, and the fact that you cannot swap characters on the fly in single player, makes it bad game design. But there's not a single environmental hazard that I've seen Drizzt being able to get through. I think the same thing goes for Catti-brie. Maybe Bruenor or Wolfgar can get through them. I don't know. I don't want to replay it with those characters just to find out. So yeah, this is... And I don't find the core gameplay mechanics to be compelling enough or interesting enough. It at least for like Drizzt, it's just, you know, mashing the right trigger until things die. Maybe using the shoulder buttons occasionally, and even then, I actually find that it's more effective to just mash the right trigger, because Catti-brie is too slow, at least in single player. You know, Catti-brie feels like she is more. She would work better in multiplayer, because you can fire at enemies from a distance while your friends are, you know, going at them with their, you know, melee. Like that. Like, she's probably maybe the one and only character who would play better in multiplayer, who is gimped effectively in single player, because I didn't play her long enough, to be fair, to like really get a good sense of how survivable she is compared to like Drizzt. My main issue with Catti-brie is that she doesn't feel... It isn't really fun. Her mechanics aren't fun in and of themselves. They're slow, they're sluggish. Basically your DPS is kind of gimped a little bit, maybe, I don't know. I can't speak too much for the actual balance, but the feel of playing Catti-brie is a little too slow paced. It's paced, for my liking. And again, I get the feeling that like just the having other people there would make it a little more satisfying. But yeah, I guess that's kind of all I have to say on that. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Like, so far, I would say this game is a 5 out of 10. It's kind of average and dull. The only positives I can say are the enemy dialogue. Some of the enemy dialogue is pretty fun. Kind of. It's not enough to salvage the game. Yeah, not making a very good first impression. Eventually, we will have a generic Ashra screen, but it is not this day. I may be playing some continuing with Final Fantasy VII intermission later today. I don't know. But in any case, a bunch of things you can do. Depending on which platform you're watching this through. There's a Minecraft ROM you can check out. That's pretty cool. You can go to Patreon and vote with your wallet for future streams. To increase priority. Something you really want to see me play in the future. But in any case, thanks for watching, and until next time.